Hello everybody, I'm David Bone, head of the energy team at Harper Macleod, and on behalf of our team and the whole firm, I would like to welcome you all to this virtual SHREC. We are of course saddened by the terrible effects the COVID-19 virus has had on our country, and our hearts go out to any of you who have lost relatives or friends due to the virus. But we've always tried to innovate and improvise at SHREC, and we very much wanted to bring you this mini version of our conference, now in its 11th year, as a taster for what we intended to cover, and in the hope that we can amplify an update on this if we are able to go ahead with the real thing on the rescheduled date of 24th September. A number of our speakers have been able to download their talks or take part in Q&A sessions with Nicky Marr. So after me, you'll hear from Audrey McKeever from High, George Baxter from Green Power, Terry Stebbings of Proterra Energy and Ryan Felber of Resource Efficient Scotland, and Jeremy Sainsbury of Natural Power, and we're very grateful to all of them. As an introduction to the session, however, I wanted to touch on three topics: the progress Scotland's renewable energy industry has made over the last year and what we have to look forward to. Secondly, the attempts to tackle climate change. And third, the effects COVID-19 is having on our industry and what can be done to mitigate these. For the last few years, we've talked about the goal of using renewable energy sources to provide 100% of our electricity consumption by 2020. And the good news is that we're in sight of this. Figures to the end of 2019 showing that 90% has been achieved. Also, another topic we've covered in the last couple of years, after a long battle, the UK government has now been persuaded to see sense and to allow onshore wind and large solar back into the next CFD auction, so that the cheapest forms of electricity can compete for the money available under the CFD, and that will be a further boost to these industries. As a result of that, our team at Harper Macleod has been involved in increasing numbers of onshore wind developments and acquisitions over the last year as the industry gears itself up for more activity. In some ways, it's surprising how much activity there has been over the last few months, but this is a resilient industry and one which looks towards the future and wants to get everything ready so that when we hopefully move back to normality, then everyone is ready to go. That activity in relation to onshore wind is, however, going to depend to a large extent on the planning reforms our industry hopes to see coming forward as part of National Planning Framework 4. That's due to be debated over 2020, and we'll hear more about that later in one of the other talks. There have been a lot of other developments as well. The Crown Estate offshore wind leasing round, called ScotWind, is now gearing up to go ahead. Forestry and Land Scotland are now engaged in the initial stages of their next round of opening up parts of the National Forest Estate for wind, hydro, solar and battery storage. The Sectoral Marine Plan for offshore wind is moving forward. We have the new Heat Networks Bill, and very recently we've seen the increased possibility of a 600 megawatt subsea grid connection to Shetland. A large number of these projects and developments could benefit the Highlands and Islands. Turning now to climate change, the attempts to tackle climate change were of course to be underscored by the holding of COP26 in Glasgow in November. We still wait a specific date for when that will be held, but hopefully the postponement will only be till spring, oblique summer of next year. That is due to be preceded by the Scottish Government's Climate Action Plan. And although that has been delayed, it's really important that that now pushes ahead, particularly after some movement from the UK Government in relation to the CFD. We've already heard of the money set aside in the Scottish budget for low-carbon capital investment and fresh seed money for the new Scottish National Investment Bank, both of which should help drive the transition to net zero in accordance with our 2045 targets. A lot of this will to some extent be delayed by the coronavirus, and at the moment there is still uncertainty over what work can proceed during the lockdown. The Scottish Government has taken a stricter position than its UK counterpart on access to sites and construction work, but some is still proceeding, including on sites which are due to generate this year and which National Grid therefore terms essential, subject of course to observing safety measures. There are also concerns about whether ecological work, especially that undertaken during April-May, can continue. The governments have both given some comfort on deadlines. The Scottish Government has provided extensions for planning consents that were due to expire by September 2020, extending up to April 2021. And the UK Government has indicated allowances will be given if CFD milestones cannot be achieved because of the lockdown, and also provided 6 months extensions for certain feed-in tariff projects. The Land Register of Scotland has also had to consider digital adjustments to allow acquisitions and sales and new leases to complete. This is very much a moving picture, and no doubt there will be further developments and announcements because, more than ever, we are clearly living in uncertain times. I appreciate there will also be concern that government and private capital money, which might otherwise have been available to support renewable energy projects, may be much tighter because of the effect the virus has had and will continue to have on our economy. And it may well be that we come out of this crisis with different ways of life and different priorities. But I very much hope that replacing fossil fuels with renewable energy and reducing our emissions will play a central role in all of that. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of the talks.